mini-map to better prepare coming in here tomorrow and get ready for that champ bracket.
Well, we talked about it. That's enough from us. We can jump straight into the
first
action.
match of the tournament.
It's always a good one. District will be map number 1. Regal Reserve.
Just look how big that is.
Nation. It's
Look how
beautiful.
big those
You have
dots
the
are.
numbers, of course. You can just take a look on the side. You'll see the numbers there. It's the beautiful mini-map, though, at the top right of your screen. It's going to change the viewing experience completely. I've already talked about it. It's going to make our casting significantly easier and better as well for everyone watching at home. But we didn't even really have a chance to talk too much about predictions for this one. Are you very much on board with the Rise Nation boys?
You know what? I would say that Colin, Colin made a good point when it came down here towards Regal, but Rise, these guys are the veterans, top 4 Gears of War team in the world, ending up last season. But now we're going to be able to see it's LAN time. If Vexy said, hey, they're more of a better LAN team, they're better when they're shooting right next to each other. So we'll see what type of tournament Rise Nation plans on having in San Diego, and it's going to start with this matchup. On the flip hand, Regal Reserve, the number 2 team in EU.
I love the pressure as well Regal Reserve is going for. You can see it was Strikers actually who put pressure on Rise Nation's home hill, decapped, backed away. He's going to be trying to fight in between 2 players of Rise Nation, not the best spot, and more than likely will fall eventually. But so far, in terms of the points, 64 to 51, it's going to be Regal Reserve with the mid-neutral.
And now you're seeing currently Drix trying to hold off this home hill. This is going to be his opponent's home hill, keeping his decap. Zorkos is going to have to deal with him soon. As you see on your screen, guys, Regal Reserve aren't getting any points. Currently a trip cap domination. Zorkos, he has to find a hill. He's going to get some help from his duo strikers. You see on the X-ray, multiple Rise Nation members in for the pinch. Can Detox get the double kill? He gets a chunk and some help from his teammates. A few members coming in play for Regal Reserve, trying to make the break, but they're not going to respawn in.
So a nice round there, important round win for Rise Nation, because as you mentioned, Guy, of course, less rounds overall at escalation, so it makes these early rounds matter a little bit more.
And so to answer your question earlier before the action popped off, I'm going to say my prediction is going to be Rise Nation 2-1, map number 3. You come out first match of the day on main stage. I don't think Rise Nation is going to start off exactly perfect, and they have to get some warming up done, and I think Regal has came to play.
All right, well, a good first round for Rise Nation. We'll go for our first weapon placement so far, Flashbang down.
And so for some of our new viewers out there towards Gears, at the end of every single round, teams will be able to place weapons to help them win the next round along certain designated slots on the map. Big, heavy power weapons, explosives can only go along the center line, something that was changed within these last few weeks.
Right, so still players maybe trying to get used to that change, but either way, here we find ourselves at the San Diego Major. On board with Shock, a little bit of work to do. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get it done. It's Zorkos that shuts him down. So a little bit of an advantage for Regal Reserve, but that's almost instantly nullified as in flies Rise Nation. Detox was there, ready and waiting to be clean up the crew, but the reality of the situation, he wasn't needed at all. So Rise Nation now with full map control, and you can see the pressure that's already being applied. It's going to come down to Rita to try and touch the hill. It's neutral for now. Now the support is there. Rise Nation may back away from this, but as I say that, the kills come through again, and Regal Reserve in a whole different world of pain.
Retta may be getting too offensive there, but you got Drix in play. Retta versus Drix, 1v1 for the hill. Drix getting super aggressive, but he just ate that shot, and there you go. Retta takes him out.
That was a round-saving play right there out of Retta. He goes down there, more than likely the round is over. Rise Nation would have had a big opportunity to close it out and go 2-0 up. Instead, Regal Reserve managed at least to survive for now, but Detox has gone down for Rise, and will this be maybe the flick of a switch Regal Reserve need in terms of momentum? Big fight still going on in towards the pit. Rezik has found one. Rezik actually got 2 there, so he's managed to make the best of a pretty sticky situation.
As you see, B-Hill is going to be decapped for Regal Reserve, trying to get back in here. Nobody's going to be able to contest him at the B-Hill now, but you see from that beautiful mini-map, 2 players trying to get in position. So 2v2 fight up top towards the hill, but multiple players from Rise Nation looking for mid-map control, looking to push out these members and take over the juice, that middle room with all the green lights in it. We call it juice, folks. So they're looking to go over there and take over that juice. That's pretty much going to be Rise Nation's kind of host spot, so to speak,
Right.
from Clock Tower. This is going to be a safe spot where you can get your support players in there and have all the sight lines across the map to support your teammates.
And Rise Nation's in a great spot. I mean, look at the score, right? 183, 94. Bear in mind, you have to start thinking at this point, how many rounds do you want to throw away? You can look on the left-hand side. Strikers is already at 0, so a lot of lives being used early. Yes, you expect to see maybe more than what you may have been used to because of the new update and less rounds overall in a map, but still, you have to be very, very conscious of how many lives you're willing to use in these early rounds.
You definitely do, because now the lives will get reset at round 4 currently. Back then, it was after 6 rounds in a previous escalation that the lives got reset. Now we take a look at our screens. Who's going to be in a danger zone? Strikers already out of here. He has no lives yet, folks. This is actually huge on the side of Regal Reserve because they're pretty much playing a 4v5. And on the next round, Strikers is only going to be able to get 1 life, so he's going to have to be very smart about that.
And the key here is just going to be someone from Rise Nation. Can you make sure you don't turtle up? Yes, I mean, you're in a great spot. You're going to win the round in 30 seconds, but you don't want to have your back against the wall defensively. And you can somehow have someone OE, maybe try and make the sneak play, which seems was going to be Drix's game plan. Unfortunately, here comes
Regal
the
needs
pressure.
this round. Regal needs this round. This is a big fight, and Shock gets it done for Rise Nation, Vincent. It was huge, because I don't know if Regal can now currently win this round with because they technically shouldn't spawn in. You look at their lives, they are so low, they have to concede this round. Maybe a little bit of saving grace. Detox, he has 1 respawn left. Maybe that can balance out the odds if Regal can focus on taking out Rise early in the next round.
I mean, it's tough, right? Because life management is a very new thing in Gears 5. And obviously, you saw a couple of players get used to it at E-League, and we saw how it was going to adapt. With the change to the game, we already mentioned it once, but just with the rounds getting lower, you almost feel... just because there are less rounds, you want to just spam respawn, right? You just want to get back in the fight. But you still have to pay such close attention because it is something like, for example, right there, we saw Regal Reserve in a 4v5 for about 30 to 60 seconds. That's a big, big advantage for Rise Nation.
And they almost had the trip cap.
Exactly that. But you have to think, well, what if it was a 5v5? Maybe that trip cap could have come through and it would have been 1-1.
I'm going to try to cut Striker some slack. First match of the day. The jitters come out.
You're a nice guy. You changed.
You blow 3-4 respawns between rounds number 1 and 2. That's just, you got to be more cognizant of that and understanding your position in the current game and slow down, because these teams have to realize when they need to concede rounds. And sometimes it's the earlier rounds. It's rounds 1, 2, 5, and 6 with the respawn timers being the highest.
Exactly that. And it's better to concede a round and value your lives for later to have a better chance of having a comeback. Still, of course, a mechanic players maybe take a little bit of time to get used to.
Good opening here out of Regal Reserve. Focusing down low on a home hill fight. They got 2 kills off the initial. They found a 3rd, and they found a 4th. It's only Rezik up top watching the B hill, so we see that currently Regal Reserve says, hey, we want a team fight, we want to control B.
And the irony is if they had that opening in an earlier round, the round actually would have been over, just the fact that all 5 players would have been dead off respawn, but the respawn getting a little lower, so players from Rise able to use some of those lives. Strikers again is down and out for the count. 0 4 respawns left. It has to be more cautious, you think, going off of the openings, right? You have to realize the situation you're in and play around exactly that.
We're seeing a rotation from Regal Reserve. They got some good intel that Rise Nation was rotating down low, possibly playing for home hill. So in the process, they're trying to counter. Currently, Rise Nation is being annoying. We see Regal have 1 player in that juice. He's going to be able to Lancer and support them in his battle, but they need to get nades here, something to push out Rise Nation.
But again, the problem is Strikers is left in this situation where he wants to try and take this fight more than anything. He wants to support, but he can't, because he knows if he dies, if Rise target him, he's out for the count.
But check this out currently. You have Detox with 0 lives. You have Strikers with 0 lives. If either one of these players die, their team is going to be at a disadvantage 5v4. So you don't want Strikers to engage in this fight, but he has to. He can't lose this 1v1, Vincent. It's him versus a Vexis. He's going to back
beautiful
up.
Play, though. It was beautiful play from Regal because they sent everyone in front of him, and Strikers cherry-picked the kills when he could. Good spacing, but now the pressure's still coming through. Rise Nation, they want to try and decap, keep the pressure on, because as it stands, 130 to 126, Rise still with the advantage. And of course, Detox and Striker still both alive for now, but if they fall, they're not coming back up.
And they're going to be number 7 and 1 on your mini-map if you want to follow where these players are. But you see, both of them playing passive. They are in the fight to get control over this home hill. Rise Nation trying to keep it neutral, but 2 players of Rise Nation just want a key fight up top, so Rise Nation don't have to put all their resources into this home hill. They realize it, and they're backing up.
Yep, and this is where you can try and go for a bit of a setup, just try and close out this round. Regal Reserve will have to be the playmakers. They're going to have to be the proactive ones as Shock is able to find himself a drop, but unfortunately he's going to drop straight away. Rezik was there, but the trades come back and forth, and it's Strikers who's been down to 0 respawns available for quite some time, and he's played fantastic gears to value his life and make sure he's taking the correct fights at the correct time.
Drop shot acquired by Strikers. He has no lives. Cougars has no lives. But now you need to find Detox. You need to make some plays. You just need to make it rain with the drop shots and make something happen. He needs some marks, but he knows where Detox is, and that's who he's looking for. He's not able to catch him, but he has about maybe 2 more drops left.
You gotta go.
Shotty out.
Drop's not even going to be good enough. Is he going to be able to even touch the hill?
The decap comes in. Elimination. Never mind. Rise Nation gets the round. Regal, they made the push, and it was almost there. 3 win conditions being elimination, time, you cap all 3 hills, and at least 2 of those win conditions were so close on that hill.
And in those situations, you have to be so conscious of exactly that. What is the correct win condition to go for at the right time? There, of course, you see time ticking away. They needed to get in that hill just a fraction of time quicker, and maybe, just maybe, they could have stolen the round away from Rise Nation, but it wasn't the case. Time gets the better of Regal Reserve.
I love what Regal is doing with the weapon placement, putting the big, heavy power weapons down towards Bandstand so they can fight in a nice, close area, focus on those home hills, and have a very intimate team fight where they can watch each other's back. We'll see if that strategy works out, but Rise Nation has a lot of utility to bring to this fight. That's where sometimes placing a big, heavy power weapon down first on the center line can go wrong.
And it's Rise Nation right now just really being dominant, asserting that dominance in the early parts of this round already. A couple of players from Regal Reserve go down early. Strikers, once again, back down to 0 lives available, but to his credit, he did play fantastic last round in terms of just managing that, but at the end of the day, it's the scoreboard which really matters the most, and right now, 3-0, the advantage for Rise.
Rezik knew he put some damage on Zorkos. Is he going to go for the shot? Yes, he is. Zorkos unaware that the drop shot was in hand. I do believe he's going to have about 1 or 2 left.
And now note 5 versus 4. Strikers did actually fall once again. Burgers is down to 0 respawns left as well, as is Detox and Avexi. So here, if you're Regal Reserve, yes, you're down 45-1, but it doesn't matter. Take a deep breath, compose yourself. You know who you're looking for. You can hit the scoreboard. You know who you have to hunt. You see those characters and you fly. You try and turn what is an unfavorable 4 versus 5 into a very, very favorable 4 versus 3.
And they have the information. They know who they need to take out to even the odds 44. Just most importantly, Cougars needs to be careful, and he has his Lancer out. He's playing towards the back line. He's trying to get in position, but he might get caught out. Him versus Rezik. Rezik has plenty of lives to utilize, so he can forcefully take this 1v1 and guarantee this round for his team. But you see the teamwork coming out of Rise Nation, slowly trying to work the edge of Cabana. They're able to take one out, and now Zorkos, 1v2 situation, has to go big for his team. He has Detox, he has Effects, he gets the double, it's a 3v3, but he cannot.
And more importantly for Rezik there, it was valuing not only his life, but his teammates, realizing I can go first, let me bait for you. I can respawn 3 times here. You guys, you don't have that available to you as the round continues. All of a sudden, just 1 hill cap for both. Rise will claim the A hill as well. As you mentioned, Strikers, of course, unable to respawn, and a lot of Rise players now down to 0 respawns available. In fact, 4 of them, Shock, Detox, Drix, and Avexis. It's only Rezik with respawns available, but again, we find ourselves in a very similar situation as to what we did last round, Guy, which is time. Regal Reserve cannot wait too long. They will need to try and force this. As you can see, Swarm, which is, of course, Rise, will win this round in 55 seconds. Someone from Regal Reserve needs to be proactive, and it could start right here with the drop shot that's been picked up. Reader as well with a down onto Drix. This could be the opening. This could be the play Regal Reserve need to get back into this match.
Oh, you see Regal looking to make this final push, looking to get at least 1 round in the first half. The drop shot, so important, but they missed the first shell.
Such a smart play as well. Forget what you just saw on your screen. It was Rezik on the minimap, number 0, OE'd all the way to Regal Reserve's home hill. He managed to get the decap and stay for the actual cap as well, just buying Rise Nation an extra bit of time. Regal Reserve at this point, you're trying to cut your resources into the correct areas, but Rezik OEing is just going to cause a little bit of confusion and again, waste a little bit more time.
He also isolated a 1v1 with Cougars, who was on his last life, but he was patient, called out for his teammate Reddit to get into position to help him, and they were able to execute Rezik. But now, the B fight, you have 5 and number 8 looking to fight a 1v1. The player up there is clutching up. it's going to be Drix, who won a 1v1, who won a 1v2 up there to clutch up the B hill. And it's also going to be another player, and Drix is going to take him out as well up there on the top end, and he's going to cap up that B hill. Oh, actually, he goes down, but I don't think anybody makes it to A in time. Number 5 and number 2, they need to push. It's still possible for Regal Reserve, but they have to get to the hill. I don't think they make it in time.
No way. 3 seconds, you got to touch A hill. Unless everyone falls, it's not going to happen. And massive credit actually to Rise Nation for just their management there of that round. Because again, as you brought up a couple of rounds ago, 3 different types of ways you can win the round. And trying to manage those and control those at all times can get very, very difficult because you're thinking about your own lives, you're thinking about your respawn timer, you're thinking about weapon timers. Sometimes you can kind of get in those situations in a game where you find yourselves all turtled up in your home hill, and next thing you know, you've been trip capped. And it's a horrible place to be, but it happens to the best teams in the world consistently. But the way Rise managed that was very, very well played. Again, massive credit to Rezik, understanding the situation, understanding, all right, you guys have home. Don't worry about me. I'm the OE. I'm going to take the pressure off all of you guys, making a fantastic play, which results in a 4-0 lead for Rise Nation.
Veteran move. Speaking of veteran moves, you see both these squads actually in this engagement at B. The Incendiary grenade comes out from Cougars, able to take out a few players towards the back at drop shot, and that's going to put the drop shot in Regal's hand. So they come out and they win the opening initial of Vexy's holding his ground. Now, folks, it is halftime, so you do have a new set of heals. You're going to have that neutral heal down low. It's going to be E, and it's going to be in front of the drop shot as well. You also see on your screen how many shells that player has in his drop shot also, and whatever weapon they're using at that present time. Also, all the lives are going to be refilled after round 4, so hopefully this time Strikers can value his lives a little bit more in the early round.
Well, let's just hope Regal Reserve is a little bit better in the second half here because, of course, not winning a round in the first gives Rise Nation a very, very comfortable lead. And to your point, now you can...
Zorkos can shoot right over that wall to the left, but he just needs to know that that player is there. If he has those Astro 840s turned all the way up, he can probably hear that player walking and wall bouncing over there towards the left side of that wall.
Well, he's going to find out very quickly because there he is. The shotgun fight commences. A little bit of support is there. However, elsewhere on the map, Rise Nation winning fight. So it doesn't really matter what happens down low here for Regal Reserve. They don't really have the overall advantages. Finally, Shock decides to push. Strikers was able to find 2 elsewhere, but Vexy's responds in tune. Shock has done so well to stay alive as long as he has. Drix to the rescue. There's a double. Shock finds 1, and Strikers needs to be very, very careful here.
Rezik has a cross behind elimination, but a player respawns.
That was a millisecond. That's why I said you have to be careful. You have to value your life. 4 of your teammates are dead. You fall there, round's over.
You have to realize in that moment that you have to run away.
You have to
buy a little bit more time for the respawn to come through, because you can hear the domination for the elimination win condition to come through, but it also has to do with the player's respawn timer as well.
Very, very close.
Also, too, because the players have to actually press X2 respawn, they do not respawn automatically.
Right.
So you could be slow on your thumbs and lose a round.
Caught sleeping, essentially, as Strikers will find himself another double. Cougars responds with 1. However, Detox still being a nuisance, and as you can see on the score, it's advantage Regal Reserve, but it's a marginal one, which, as I mentioned, that is eradicated. Rise Nation take the lead in terms of points. They have really controlled this entire map, and the problem that Regal Reserve are going to have is even if they do somehow marginally win this round, what effect is that going to have on their lives? Once again, Strikers down just to 1. And overall, when you think about trying to make a comeback, it's so difficult to make a comeback when the live count is that low every single round you're going into.
Now, we're taking a look at the live count now, and Rise Nation, you know, they got a few 2s over there out of 4s, a lot of 1s and 2s on the side of Regal Reserve.
But that's the problem, right? Because when you're about to lose, you have to throw everything. You have to throw everything at the round, and sometimes that comes at the massive result of no lives left for the later rounds. But as we mentioned, it is Rise Nation still fully in control here. Plays, I mean, 223 to 188, 2-1 hill advantage. Regal Reserve, you got to pull a rabbit out of a hat right now to try and win this round.
Rise Nation definitely trying to end it here, and if they don't, it's not the end of the world because they have plenty of rounds to work with, and they just need 1 round currently. But Rise Nation, 6 more points, and they take the map. Can anybody get to the F hill? It is currently decapped, but the overextension, physics, you got Rezik, big 1v1 on the E hill, all other hills capped up. Can they stay alive? Double down, that's gonna have to force a player down low. It's gonna buy Rise Nation some time. E hill decap, no members of Rise Nation spawning in. They're gonna value their lives, concede this round, focus on round 6.
And credit where credit is due there. Again, Regal Reserve fighting on the back foot. It was Rise Nation in full control of that round. Once again, it was Rezik trying to make the play. But this time, as opposed to last time, you see Regal Reserve ready and waiting for the OE. They managed to dedicate a resource over towards the mid-neutral hill, ready for Rezik to try and make the play. And when push comes to shove, Regal Reserve take the round.
What I want to see Regal Reserve do here is play to their strengths, which currently is going to be them. I want them to get a good 2-to-1 setup, play to their back foot. They've been playing these last few initials very aggressively. And they kind of have to with that drop shot down low.
Yeah.
But if they can find, if they have some strategy in their back pocket to allow Rise Nation to walk into a trap, pull out those Lancers, get those downs early on, slow the game down while Rise Nation is rushing at you, take a few of their respawns off the board, start getting prepared for a slow late game.
Absolutely agree. You have to try and chunk away at Rise Nation's lives because, again, you're trying to make a comeback.
That's
Everything
a good
is going to be so tough, but as you mentioned, a great start so far. 2 players from Rise Nation full early, pressure on them, forced to backtrack, and Regal Reserve, they may not have the hills yet,
Beautiful
but they have
movement
the
by
map control.
Vexies. Beautiful use of that Gears Award movement to dodge those shots and get into a better position because he was about 1 shot away from going down. I do believe he might even been one of the last ones alive in that scenario as well.
A couple of teammates with him, but we mentioned lives, and we're going to keep doing so because Rada already down to just 1.
Zorko's 2 drop shots. I believe he has about 2 or 3 drop shots for Zorko's. Okay. He has that power weapon to utilize. We're going to see how Regal Reserve, if they can come back into this round.
But this is exactly what you wanted, right? They have control of the map. Now Rise have to come to them. It could result in maybe some free kills, and that might be the first drop shot out for Zorkos, but it's a 1v2 on the home hill. Drop goes out again. Rise recognize that's the perfect time, but the support is there. Now a 2 versus 1. Rise knocking on the door, but right behind was Detox. The flank comes through.
Oh, Strikers did not just do that. He made Detox kill Drix and then kill Detox to save the F-Hill in that pressure moment. Kudos to him.
Well, a fantastic play from him. And again, Regal Reserve still alive in this one. Strikers finds himself a down. Beautiful play. The assault onto the mid-neutral hill comes through. Once again, Regal Reserve will take the lead if they cap that hill, which it seems like they're ready to do so. Do pay attention, though. As I mentioned before, Rita now down to 0 lives left. If he falls, this will be a 5 versus 4 for Rise Nation. He's going to have to play his life very, very wisely. Number 4 on the mini-map, currently sat at E.
I said, Ben, and I wanted it to slow down. I wanted Regal Reserve to get in a 2-to-1 hill setup.
Get what you want.
Pull out those Lancers and force Rise Nation to rush you and take some respawns off the board. Detox, Rezik, 1 life apiece. If they can kill them off this next team fight, Regal Reserve in a good position.
Well, just like that, the entire setup is broken. 2 players go down, one of which is Rita. So the absolute worst case for Regal
Strikers
Reserve
is going off.
4 versus 5 for now, at least. As Regal Reserve desperately trying to hold on to this lead. They've done so well in this round. But again, a big advantage for Rise Nation.
Home hill. Look at the mini-map. At this point, all members, Regal Reserve, spawn up top, lock down those home hills, play for time. Play for that win condition. Don't go for the trick cap and overextend the map.
I believe Detox has actually spawned in, so he wants to go for this, despite, of course, not having any lives left himself. Rightfully so. Rise Nation want to end it. May as well, because he's going to get a life back in the next round anyway. Vexies does find himself a couple. The drop is out. Rezik shuts down.
Can't hide from that.
30 seconds. Time is ticking. 2 versus 1 advantage in favor of Rise Nation, but this is where now Regal Reserve need the play. It needs to come in quickly because the trip cap is coming through, and just like that, months and months and months of event victories on this exact game.
I will say EU's Finest, I think, has the most discipline, top 3, top 2 discipline out of all the teams that's similar to NRG.
Now you're doing it again. You're getting my hopes up.
I'm being honest with you, Ben. You watch those guys become aggressive, then they hold a 2-to-1 setup. It's so clean. They always move as a unit. They have the best wolf packing in Gears Esports.
Well, we'll get to see them, of course, a little bit later on. But for now, back to Regal Reserve versus Rise Nation. Map number 2, of course, if you just missed it, map 1 was relatively quick. Rise Nation took care of business, and they, of course, will now have the advantage in the series. But so far, off the initial, it seems like it is going to be a 2-to-1 hill advantage already.
So I will like to say that Exhibit is a map where the hills do not change throughout the entirety of the map. So the 3 hills in which you guys see, you will see for all 9 rounds if we do go the distance. Now, this B hill down Seaside Hallway and Cave Hallway, it's some spicy fights that happen. It typically starts off a little slow, but whoever can control that B hill early on has the advantage. Now, up top on the bridge, we typically see 1v1 fights in this area. That lane has to always be protected for the flank, but if we see a team currently like Rise Nation who are at the disadvantage on 2-1, sometimes they'll send 2 players up top, quickly take the 2v1 and force the members back of the other team and put pressure on that home hill.
As you mentioned, Ryans were momentarily in the disadvantage, but a flurry of kills in quick succession from Regal Reserve. And once again, really cement the lead they already have, 126-70. Detox trying to get the work done up top, but unfortunately for him,
Rise Nation has to go.
Fight has to be forced. At this point, you have to value your lives as well. You don't want to go down too early, and the kill does come through. Red able to shut down Detox quick enough, so that will, of course, have an effect later on, potentially, at least in terms of the life count. But a much better start, not only to the round, I feel, but also, of course, the map as general. Regal Reserve 1-0 up.
That is a great round there for Regal Reserve. Come out with the first round. You recognize your mistakes off the last map. And if you ask me, Regal actually started picking up more of the momentum at District.
100%.
It's just that they were too far in the trenches after the start.
Pre-update? Hey, maybe they make a comeback.
Maybe, right?
Maybe they had just enough in it. But again, a much better start from Regal Reserve, controlling the tempo of the game very, very well off that opening. And in terms of lives, it's as is, everyone with 4 available to use. Rise Nation doing a good job, at least losing the round, managing their lives efficiently.
2 flash grenades able to get picked up and be used with its 1 flash grenade. The 4th and 5th spawns have for each team. So 4 flashes utilized down low. You see on the back foot is Regal Reserve, but they do pull out the Lancers, trying to stop Rise Nation. Physics with an angle. Shock forced to push this, and he goes down, but Rise Nation in a good position to get control. Drix with the Lancer, he's able to get some damage in, but multiple members fall.
I was going to say, the problem for Rise Nation there was, yes, Drix was doing a good job getting the damage down, but Regal Reserve were so close together that even if the downs came through, the revives were there almost instantly. So still, Regal Reserve in the driving seat of the round. As you can see, 2-1 hill advantage, A and B locked in for Regal Reserve. Rise Nation just with their home hill.
Now you see that player, he's forcing that 1v1. On the X-ray, they're pushing across the bridge. He has a Lancer too as well. Reddit might make it out. He does get back to his teammates, but Rise Nation, this is what I was talking about. If you can't get the setup down low, let your teammates push up top and try to force some players back. Drix and Co are down low. They cannot get to that B hill.
And if you keep your eye on the minimap, of course, you'll see number 3, the blue arrow. That's going to be Detox. He's currently just lingering around the A hill, if you will. And this is exactly what he's looking at. A couple players may up to push him, and Detox wise enough to recognize this isn't the time I want to take this fight. Let me back away.
But as he's pushing his teammates, as he draws people's attention,
his teammates make the push.
Simultaneously down low, play the fight on the B hill. And it looks like Drix and Co, they did push, and Drix is the last one alive, looking for some help to come through. 2v2 situation, but Avexis has to take care of Cougars first. They get him out the mix, and Rise Nation should be able to get this B hill.
Well, the shot melee was enough for the first, and Drix will shut down strikers as well. He's done, again, just such a good job of just keeping decent amount of space, really, making sure he's not in chunk range. Just very, very wise decision making coming from Drix.
And that's something he's so good at doing.
Right. Never really want to throw away his life unnecessarily. And his 2-1 hill advantage is in favor of Rise. But the problem, of course, is the fact they'll still lose this round just based off time alone. 57 seconds. So Rise Nation will need to neutralize A. Potential win condition, of course, could just be team wipe. Regal Reserve just have to make sure at this point you don't just turtle up. You still want to apply pressure elsewhere on the map. That's what Strikers is trying to do. Unfortunately, though, as Regal Reserve are trying to make the plays, they're falling. And again, you have to make sure you're valuing your life very well, but that's a great fight to win.
Zorkos plays his life. He knows that this is a sweet spot, and he actually gets Vexys trapped with his teammates coming off respawn. So a 2-1 hill advantage. Regal survived that Rise Nation assault. They got their home hill locked down unless Shock can do something shocking on the main stage. Regal Reserve comes out with round number 2.
You tried to give him the energy, and unfortunately, it just didn't quite work. Regal Reserve, they win the second round as well. Almost went 3 minutes. Rise Nation, they had an opportunity. They really did. They managed to just really dig their way back into the game, if you will. 2-1 hill for quite some time, but unfortunately, when that last push was needed, Regal Reserve played it smart.
This is a map where pretty much all our top teams is going to play for the point win condition to start. It's very hard to get a trip cap domination early on in these rounds. It's usually a map that's typically the rounds are won off of time, but there is some rare scenarios where you do get that elimination wipe and you do get the domination.
One of the main reasons for that is sometimes just tunnel vision, right?
Exactly.
You're so worried about, oh, I've got to make sure I got my teammates trade. Next thing you know, you were like second in line, and now you're down to your final teammate trying to trade.
You guys are in a big team fight. Everybody's fighting, but just it's unlucky that you all died within the same time frame.
Well, round number 3 underway. Once again, we'll have a look at the opening break. It really has been Regal Reserve. They got a lot of momentum, as you so rightfully said, at the end of map number 1. They've carried it through. Right here into map number 2, but Rise Nation finally get a better opening start, and they will control 2-1 hills.
Each team has a 3v2 advantage on opposite sides of the hallway. They're both trying to just kind of counterclockwise rotate towards this B hill and get in there first. It's looking like it's going to be Regal Reserve to make it in the hill first, and that's a big kill there for Cougars.
And that's massive, because now instantly he can put pressure on Rise Nation's home hill, so it's going to force all the resources Rise had. The great
but
opening
Detox
start
one
to
hit, he can save the round. Big 1v1 for Detox up top against Retta.
Problem is, that's what it took, right? You think he loses that fight, round is over. Well, he is able to win it, so prolongs the round for Rise Nation. But again, it seemed like a great opening for them, and Regal Reserve just kind of cut them open. It seemed almost too easy, guy.
Yeah, almost just a little bit, but we're seeing how much of this map exhibit plays into Regal Reserve's play style. You know, we did a little questionnaire with these players, and about 3 players on this team actually labeled themselves as support players, all right? So
it's a lot of support you got.
Yeah, right? It's a lot of, a lot of Lancer fire from these guys, so they love that slow, methodical play style, but it makes sense, especially when you have so many great series against EU's finest across the pond.
You're definitely going to improve, that's for sure. As Regal Reserve still sitting with the lead, 100-78. However, Rise do control 2-1 hill advantage. A and B locked in for them. And keep your eye on the minimap. You can see it's going to be Rezik, who's just making sure no one sneaks through. That's number 5 on the minimap. No one sneaks towards his home hill. Meanwhile, the big defensive stance is going to have to come over towards B. A lot of resources now from Regal Reserve starting to funnel in towards the B hill.
Quick revive comes through. They're going to be able to save Physics' life. Regal, they're going to lose strikers, and they see the assault coming from Rise Nation. Retta's going to hold his ground, has that shotty out, trying to get a few pop shots over cover. Going to be able to put the damage out. Rise Nation can't get him off the sweet spot. He's going to be able to back roll, regroup, but the damage is out, and he's going to finally connect with Detox, a little too overzealous off the side.
I like the theory, but unfortunately just didn't really pull off. As, again, big defensive kills come through. Now all of a sudden, Rise Nation get 3 of their own. Can they try and just get a little bit more map control, because as you can see, the B hill is being capped up. In-flight shot. There's one. Can he find number 2? He was close. He was very close indeed.
He hesitated a little bit.
Zorkos shuts him down, and well, B remains neutral for now as Vexi's just somehow sneaks away.
Well, Rezik saves a Vexi's there in that situation, because if that was a 1v1, I think a Vexi's loses it. But take a look at the points. Rise Nation can win. Their win condition is going to be on points. They need to get the B hill. It's looking like they're going to play for a 2-1 and just keep the pressure on Regal Reserve a little bit. Push towards their red zone, so to speak, which is closer to their spawn, and make it that much more difficult for them to extend the map and get the home hill of Rise.
And I love what Avexis just did, right? Rather than sitting back at the B hill, decides to push straight through. He gets 3 kills and flies straight at him, saying, you have to take me down first. I'm the first line of defense, and I'm going to be aggressive in the situation. Rise Nation take their first round.
Now, Rise Nation, they get a round on the board. And that's what they need, Benson, because you don't want them to go. You don't want them to go down too soon. They don't want to go. Granted, they don't want to go down 3-0 early on this map. They won map number 1, cool, great. But you see how well Regal Reserve is playing, and they have to. Rise Nation has to respect them. One thing that these teams should be lucky for, like, imagine if this was in our champ bracket and this was single elimination. You know, definitely the pressure there in that moment, but they're able to get 3 matches in the Swiss stage before they get to the champ bracket. But all these teams should be planning as if it was still single elimination.
Well, Regal Reserve, 2-1 the advantage. Rise Nation get their first round on the board. At this point, I want to throw it over to an Astro Gaming listen-in with Rise Nation.
Two guys on me, one shot.
They come back, they come back.
Yeah, they come back.
Come back. Troll me. Don't die.
Follow me, I can't. One shot. One down.
Who's that side?
I stay sneaky.
We are good. They're still numbers.
One at top.
I still have flame. There are 3 of them. I want you, Nico. I go with you.
One at top on our side, boys.
Oh, they are top.
still the 2-1 advantage for Regal Reserve in terms of points. They also have the advantage here as well. 85-40, 2-1 hill advantage as well. Guy, things looking pretty good for them to really make a statement here in game 2.
I will say Rise Nation is looking a little pale on that listening at the top of the screen, but
Just a tad.
Just a tad bit. But
It's been raining in San Diego.
yeah, right? A little bit. And now in this round, you see Rise Nation about to get this 2-1 hill advantage, but Regal has a big lead. They got him almost double the points of Rise Nation. So 2-1 hill set up for the boys. And up top from the mini-map is looking like a 3-man push for Regal. Gonna put all their resources up there. Rise Nation slowing the rotation. They don't see it coming. The C-Hill is under pressure. Drix finally gives the call out, but Regal gonna wolf pack into the spine.
I mean, I like it. Just go for the decap, right? You just want to buy yourself a little bit of time. You don't necessarily need to try and go for the cap.
And you know where all players are. They're dead center. Pretty much, they almost have Rise Nation in a trap down low.
This is where you can collapse, right? Or if you're Rise Nation, just push straight through. Say, all right, you want our home hill? That's A-okay. We'll take your home hill. But you have to be quick about it, and that's exactly the game plan. But now, of course, you have to worry about the neutral. This is what you mentioned. You wanted to see Regal Reserve do just this, right? Play that wolf pack, play that rotation game when you have the lead. Unfortunately, though, things taking a turn for the worse as all the kills seem to be in Rise Nation's favor. Strikers may actually have to try and stay alive here. He falls as well. Players
2v1 at the A-Hill. Oh, I didn't see who it was, but there we go. Detox goes down. Regal Reserve get their home hill back. 30-point lead. They still have the 2-1. Rise Nation finally gets a player off free spawn. They still don't have their home hill decap, but number 4 is going to be at Vexys. He's finally going to be able to be there, but they're still going to press him. He's by himself, and he's going to get flashed.
Bear in mind, Striker's down to 0 respawns left.
Uh-oh.
Keep your eye on that, of course. When he gets down to the end of a round like this, it doesn't really matter as long as you throw your life away for something useful. As the push comes through, Vexys with 1 almost found himself a double. Again, the extra cavalry coming through. The nades being thrown in towards the
All
hills.
hills decap.
232,
Nobody getting points.
202. Domination denied as Detox looks to try and find himself a pick, and unfortunately not going to be able to do so. Zorkos wins that fight. 12 seconds until the victory comes through.
Man!
Drix drops as well.
Viva la France. Regal Reserve. They're going to secure round number 4. And they're going to go up 3-1.5.
Did you just say?
I said Viva la France. I miss you. You know that?
So many things wrong with what you just said. But I'm just
Hey,
gonna let it
don't
fly.
worry, we're going to let it rock.
We'll let it fly.
I said it
right?
with the right energy, okay?
Said it with your chest.
I did.
That is all that matters. Regal Reserve, of course, now another round advantage, 3-1. I'm liking what we're seeing here in game 2 from them. Because after game 1, I was kind of looking at them. This could be a quick series, you know? This could be over a little too quick for my liking. But we're getting a little bit of fight back. I want to see game 3 here in our first game of the day.
Now, as you see, the letters on the hills are changing, but not the locations. Every player has 4 respawns in the bank.
Yep.
They're going to get 1 at the end of every single round. Regal Reserve just needs 2 to send us to our first map number 3 of Gears San Diego.
Right, first game of the day? Yeah, give us a good one.
I'm down for it.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Vexys again doing damage, doing work on the map. He finds himself a couple of kills, eventually does fall. But again, giving his team just so much map control because he's always the one that's going to push through. He'll be first in line if necessary. So often wins those fights anyway. And as it stands, neutral hill finally being capped up, and it's going to be Regal Reserve capping up.
Now, Rise Nation just trying to get some damage in, looking for an opening, but you see the defense of Regal Reserve. They're looking good, pre-firing these corners. 2v2 setup down on this hallway. They have they have 2 players watching the other hallway. They're going to be able to have somebody pick up. Actually, they have 2 players up top, I believe. Actually, nope, it's down low. So, 2v2 fight.
Fight's going to commence. Advantage there momentarily, at least for Rise Nation. They get a little bit more control. Zorkos being so patient. Now he wants to spring into life, but instantly he goes down. Drix.
That's the opening.
Fantastic shot. Shot finds 1. Detox gets it down as well. Massive advantage and opening here for Rise Nation. The E-Hill will be there. The question is now, how much more do you want? Do you want to just keep flying through?
Do they save Cougars? They do. He is alive, but he's on his last down. You can only be down 3 times before you automatically die on the 3rd one. So,
almost feels as if this is one of those rounds now that Regal Reserve have no right to win.
look at the teamwork, the crossfire from up top. Regal is here to play. They know if they want to win this tournament, Vincent, they're going to have to work as a unit.
They're going to need maybe a little more to win the whole tournament, but to win this map, you're absolutely right. Teamwork is going to make the dream work here if they want any chance of beating Rise Nation, tying things up 1-1. And just like that, the trip cap is coming through. Big defensive plays, though, on the mid-neutral hill.
Plays.
And Flytrix, he
Big
falls.
plays.
Great plays overall. Rita will find one more, and that will be that for the round. Regal Reserve, just as you were talking about it, just as they needed the teamwork to really solidify that round around which Rise Nation were in control of. You see just beautiful plays, beautiful time pushes, and more importantly, just the kills. The kills at the right time, of course, matters the most. Regal Reserve in full control here in Game 2.
They're hitting shots. They are hitting shots, Benson.
I will say that happened very, very quickly. I'd love to get a quick glance at exactly how that last round actually kind of broke down, because it was one of those where you're looking at the minimap, you blink, and the next thing you know, the round's over.
Now on his weapon selection, you see that the Incendiary Grenade and Shock Grenade is going to be in the hands of Regal Reserve, so they have a lot of utility. On the flip end, just a Shock and a Flash Grenade for Rise Nation, but the Botok, they have a player who's going to be spawning with the Botok. Well, technically, it gives them an option to switch their pistol between one of the three. You have the Botok, not the Gorgon, but you know what I'm saying, and the Snub pistol as well. So, but most players, they typically use the Gorgon. They typically use the Botok.
Oh, you'll have maybe a little bit of extra damage from afar. Of course, a very powerful packs a punch, that's for sure. As the early round once again starts to develop, and this one a little slower than those past. Both teams now, it seems, giving each other a little bit of respect.
The Shock Grenade is going to be able to block off that lane. So if Rise Nation can focus their attention towards the other side, they have a player down in middle, but they kind of block themselves off. So just a little pre-fire to watch this hallway. That Incendiary Grenade is going to be wasted from the side of Regal Reserve.
I think in their head, they may have thought, well, we have a player down. This is the prime opportunity for them to push. I just don't think they recognize how much longer was left on that Shock Grenade. So they're trying to think, all right, let me just Incend, maybe catch someone trying to push and shut down Zorkos. But as you mentioned, really, no one was aware of the situation.
You see the
both
Botok
sides
that we were talking about. You see how much damage it puts out. Rise Nation gives it to Vexies. Now, he only spawns with 12 shots in it. He has 3 left, but it packs a punch.
And now you just see Rise Nation with such a big lead in terms of the lives in this round alone. And Regal Reserve at this point, value your lives, value your respawns, don't waste it. Rise Nation have full control, unless, of course, Zorkos was able to make the hero play, which he wasn't. Rise Nation, show a little bit of life now.
They have 3 more rounds to win, but the one thing is about escalation being shorter than what it used to be.
Vexies has 26 kills. Sorry, I just saw it. 26 kills.
He's going off in those 6 rounds.
But he's losing 4-2.
Vexies, the team captain of Rise Nation, typically always in the front 3 spawns. He's in the mix of the action. He's doing what your team captain, what you want your team captain to do in these situations.
I just love it, though, because, again, when he's in those situations where, let's say, Rise do have a 2-1 hill advantage, rather than just letting the fight come to Rise Nation, he's the first to fly forward, find himself a 1-2 kill advantage, making life so much easier for his teammates who are set up in those defensive situations.
Okay, so we didn't see no scenarios in the first half where any of these players were super low on lives or a team had to play at a man disadvantage. And so each team doing very good managing their lives.
I think it's only Zorkos who's 3 out of 4. Everyone else in the game still sits at a full life respawn available. 4 of 4 for everyone. As now a 2 versus 1 down low. Vexies again will win the fight and clean up Zorkos. Rezik just trying to put some shots down with the pistol from afar. Will land a couple, but doesn't want to push too far, but the flank's coming through. It's actually a Vexies. You saw that there on the X-ray, and unfortunately, he's going to get caught. Strikers was ready and waiting.
He brought his team time to cap the E-Hill, which was super important. He kind of knew he was risking a life in that situation, but my question is, how does Rise Nation hold the defensive setup? And it's looking like they're off to a bad start. Multiple players hurt.
And that's one of those clever little strategies, right, which allows the mid-neutral hill to open up. It's great. But the problem is, how do you hold it, right? Because you just lost someone so important to the team who's hit the flank that instantly, as soon as Rise Nation get it, Regal Reserve say, all right, well, now we have a man advantage. We'll just retake the hill.
Regal Reserve just did something similar, sent a few players to distract and to start a fight as they capped up the E-Hill. They need to be careful back and forth. Easily at any point, one of these teams can get their opponent to kind of walk into a trap.
Right.
If one of these guys just plant their back foot, pull out those Lancers, they can probably get at least maybe 3-2 kills off the board.
All it takes is 1 down, and then all of a sudden you can just push forward and take full control of the round and, of course,
and it takes a good IGL to understand the pacing of the round, because sometimes, you know, the round can just be so many shotgun fights. It can be so chaotic where everybody is just in it to win it at that moment, where some teams lose sight of their respawns.
Well, as it stands, Rise Nation, we're in at least a little bit of control, but it instantly switches over towards Regal Reserve. They would ultimately win this round. 2-1 hill advantage. Time is ticking. Avexi surges forward. He's able to find 2. Down, of course, on physics. He'll be cleaned up. Avexi does the work himself. Zorkos is now forced to just back away. E-Hill is gone. The win condition will switch if E is capped up, which it will be. Rise Nation retake control.
Rise Nation, they have to hold this one. They're going to officially take the lead in this round, but not by much. Regal should not get flustered. They have plenty of time to come back, but they know what push they want to make. They found the isolation. Shock's blocked off by the Shock, but he has help. Chunk comes in, 1v1 scenario, has to be fought on his left hand, and Zorkos gets the double kill.
A wonderful fight from him. Detox, of course, up top, not really in the action just yet. Of course, Zorkos down low, really tried to take the game by the scruff of the neck himself there. He's going to be capped up. As it stands, Rise Nation will still win this round in 22 seconds. E fully capped up. Nice play from Avexis once again. He finds himself a pick, and again, this is that situation where if you're Regal Reserve, you just don't want to spawn it.
Concede the round, protect the respawns. It's going to be, the lives are going to be kind of even going in these last few rounds. It's a lot for each of these teams to use. 2 rounds left in this one. This is what I love about the changes being. You could be down, but right back in the game.
Yep, just quick as that. Rise Nation, a prime example is Avexis leads the charge, 33 limbs so far. Really such an important tool for the team.
In our champ bracket, our semis are going to be best of 5 as well as our finals.
Ooh.
So, you know,
spicy.
as some of these earlier rounds may go about a little bit quick, when we get towards Championship Sunday, a real winner will be crowned.
And there a quick glance at the stats. Again, Avexis, as I mentioned, leading in limbs, but you also look at his deaths. Only 12. Yes, it may be the most for the team, but considering the output that he's giving you, he'll take that all day.
All day long.
Just one more round. Could be seeing a game 3.
Each of these teams being cautious about the pushes in which they're taking early on. Rise Nation has their sights set on the cave side lane. Physics trying to put himself in a position to help his teammate out. He's just going to choose the cap. Rise Nation trapped on the side of Regal Reserve with the flash grenade being behind, and they're going to end up finding 2 kills. Physics not able to get back to the action. He has multiple players on his side of the map. Avexis is putting on the clinic with his bow tie.
And this is where Regal Reserve have to be conscious of exactly how many lives they're using, because they're almost falling into the Rise Nation trap, which is chaos. That's what they want. They want just consistent trades, so many fights, because Rise, so far at least, been superior in terms of that life management.
Rise realizes when they have the momentum and they run with it. Anytime that they have the momentum around, they take that confidence and they just produce. You see off these last 2 rounds, they're not stopping the pace. They know what's working. Regal, they're going to have to figure this one out soon.
Well, we are, of course, sitting a little bit later into the map, and Zorkos, I have to mention it, number 9 on your minimap, down to just 1 respawn left. Once he is to fall, so keep your eye on number 9. If it even comes to that, of course, it might not necessarily. 2-1 hill advantage in favor of Rise. Again, putting the pressure on Regal Reserve, and well, Zorkos, the man we're talking about, Zorkos going to have to be potentially the playmaker, because he's going to want teammates in front of him. And just a good time to pull out that Lancer and try and put damage from afar.
Going to get a few good shots here to try to help Cougars, but not enough bullets connected on that one. But they have a fight to win towards this hallway. They're going to be able to take out Drix. Avexis and Shock trying to push to the E-Hill to make something happen. Zorkos needs some help. His teammates need to get there in time. Shock may clutch it up.
It was Physics. I think Physics was just a little scared to try and take that fight as quickly as he did, but eventually the fight is won. Nevertheless, Regal Reserve will be able to cap up the E-Hill, and now the win condition switches in their favor. Of course, they win the round, they win the map, send us to a game 3. Rise respond instantly, though, as they want to keep putting the pressure over towards the E-Hill.
The E-Hill is so difficult to cap sometimes. You know, you cap it, you see all these players try to run away, get to better cover, because once you cap it, you definitely don't want to sit in that spiral. You can get crossed from too many angles, especially as you see those players how they able to look over that hop over and just shoot down onto the E-Hill.
Will it be Avexis, the playmaker, once again? Well, Rise do lock in the E-Hill, and again, what I mentioned before is just how he's so willing to push straight through, try and take the fight to the opposition, and it forces you, after it happens so many times, to just really respect the flank maybe too much. So those opportunities where Vexies could push through, sometimes if he chooses not to, it leaves you with a man just essentially doing nothing on the map.
Regal managing to flood this hill, and look at the score, Vincent. It's a tight game.
It's real tight, but
multiple win conditions still available.
Rise is potentially going to win it, though, as the E-Hill gets capped up. It's going to go back over towards Regal. Avexy's trying to put shots from afar, switches out to the Lancer, but it's Strikers in the hill who shuts down Shock. Now in flight, Rezik, 13 seconds. Still advantage here for Regal Reserve.
Rise needs to kill everybody.
F is being decapped, so hold on a minute. No Swarm. They're
Nobody's
still
at
gonna
D.
win it.
Nobody's at D. Number 5 is the closest one on the mini-map. He has 2 players in front of him. He has to get on the hill at 247.
Nope.
D cannot get it done. Exactly, but if they choose to do that, that's going to give Regal Reserve a round up when it comes down to building those secondaries. So they can bounce back if they choose to. We'll see what type of strategies both these teams want to use in map number 3.
Could we potentially have a sizable upset? Maybe not a massive upset. Give Regal Reserve the credit they deserve. Definite massive signs of improvement, but it would be an upset nevertheless. Here in the first series at San Diego, Rise Nation would hate to start off slow. Of course, they have big prospects. Of course, they believe that they're better on land, and of course, they want to show that with their results. But here they find themselves in the Game 3 first series of the day.
You see, we talk about the pace of it, right? Neutral Hill is not even capped up just yet. Both these teams just fighting for control. The top half of the bunker is so vital when it comes down to winning rounds on this map because it's so difficult to break once you get a setup up there.
I love this play from Zorkos. Instantly recognizes, well, my teammates win the fight on mid-neutral. I can put pressure on the home hill, maybe try and sneak a trip cap early. It's a simple 1v1.
His teammates winning fights as well, and he's winning fights. They got it. Nobody from Rise Nation, maybe can they make it in time? I don't think so. They're coming around a corner and they cannot.
Beautiful decision-making from Regal Reserve. It's one of those just kind of instinctive plays, right? You realize when you're that kind of isolated player who's playing the home hills, you realize, oh, my teammate's got a couple kills at mid-neutral. Screw it. Let me try and be proactive. Let me try and take the fight to the opposition. And it was a great decision. Avexy's, of course, left, really needing a miracle 1v1 because time was running out. Doesn't win it. And a great start for Regal Reserve.
Oh, man, I know I should have put Colin on the desk to start this one off. The way that Regal Reserve is playing, he's going to be looking like a genius up there.
Did he call the Regal Reserve winner? I know he said game 3.
No, he called a Regal Reserve 2-1 win in game number 3.
He's a genius.
Nah, so, and you know, we're seeing how they're playing. You know, Exhibit Bunker, great match for these guys.
I mean, look at the start for Rita. 4 kills just in the first round alone. More importantly, you think about going into a game 3, you know, maybe you're a little bit nervous. Maybe not necessarily massively nervous, but either way, that's a start which is going to settle Regal Reserve down so much. And more importantly, it's going to put a lot of pressure now on Rise Nation to respond.
And each team is going to build their favorite secondary weapon as well, rather if it's Embark, Torque Bow, Sniper, even an Overkill maybe. We've seen a lot of that on the pro circuit after these last updates as well, which like always makes for some exciting gameplay. The Bunker Buster, or the Boombox I like to call it.
Can be so lethal, that's for sure, as round number 2 starts to develop. There's the fight you want to see. However, unfortunately for Regal Reserve, elsewhere on the map, a couple of players have fallen, so Physics is going to need to maybe just play his life a little bit. Rita had to back away, needed to cover elsewhere on the map, and Physics will fall. Rise Nation, the advantage on the mid-neutral.
They've done good off these initials. Taking them about 3 to 4 kills off the board to kick it off. They get map control, and they have the option. Actually, the Cougars made a great play on the overextension.
And I want to say, if you were looking at the minimap there, you saw number 4 just push straight through, and the effect it had, you saw 4 Rise Nation players instantly turn around, give up full sight control of the B hill, and say, well, we have to try and take the fight to our home hill. It may not seem like a massive thing, but just 4 players instantly worrying, panicking, saying, well, we have to go back and get our home hill. It allows a little bit of extra time for Regal Reserve to come off spawn and try and get a little bit of control to take the B hill.
Also, something very minute but very important. If you look at the circles on the mini map, you can tell which way the players are looking.
Exactly that. So, you see the arrows. So you saw all those Rise Nation players instantly say, wait,
all those
how is he
arrows
there?
looked at C.
All turned around to look at their home hill. So a big distraction comes through. Having said that, though, everyone now off spawn, and you can just see 2 perfectly vertical lines on that mini map. The patience.
Look at this setup, and this is something I want teams at home to learn. And look at the pro teams. Look how they spread across the map, cover all 3 major lanes, and push as a unit. And the push is started from Regal Reserve.
That's a great start. Cougar shuts down the Vexies, and instantly Shock says, I don't think I have to be here much longer.
And he rolled back as well. He says, you know what, I don't want to take too much. Regroup with Zorkos. They're on a home hill. Rise Nation needs B, but I see multiple Regal Reserve members, but they're at a disadvantage. Now even 2v2. Good shots in. Rita gets another down, and he gets the triple. Regal Reserve, can Rise Nation 1v1, they actually get their home hill back.
Despite that, though, a big swing in momentum. The fact that Rita recognized, he obviously heard the audio cue of the running behind him. He turns and finds the kill in what was a big advantage of 3 versus 2 for Rise Nation. Yes, the support was coming. It was a little late for Regal, but now 2-1 hill advantage. They will win this round, potentially going 2-0 up here in game 3. And you see Rita being so smart, so sneaky. Tries to play a corner. He has been spotted, so forced to back away. Can he get out with his life, though? That's the question. Yes, he can, just. And now it comes down to how good is your defensive setup?
Regal Reserve, they need a big kill at the B hill. Multiple players flash.
Oh, he missed.
Retta just trying to get something out of it. Didn't have no help. Great teamwork out of Rise Nation to block off the support players for the B hill. And now they get a 2-1 hill advantage.
Strikers has to be quick, but it's going to be Drix that recognizes the push is
coming.
coming.
He gets the decap as well.
Well, Drix is going to be right there. Does he go for the challenge? 20 seconds and Cog team will win. That will be Regal Reserve. Hill's being neutralized here, there, and everywhere. Drix wins his 1v1. Job done for him. Is it going to be enough overall?
That B hill getting neutralized may give Rise Nation the win.
Well, it's that fight right there that's going to secure it. Detox wins his 1v1. Beautifully done against Zorkos. And Rise Nation will take the round. But by God, was that close.
It was definitely a close one. And we're seeing how talented both these teams are. But most importantly, I think one of the big takeaways is the pro leagues, the European region. Being able to have those matchups every week for those guys. You're seeing the talent in the region get so much better coming out to this event and making a statement.
I want to say a lot of credit there to Drix because, again, we always talk about towards the end of the round, things can get very hectic. Well, what happened in the first round? Yes, it happened very quickly, but you saw one player just kind of sneak through and basically steal the game, or the round at least, away from Rise Nation. This time, Drix was ready and waiting for the OE to come through. He didn't necessarily take the fight straight away. He allowed the decap to happen, took his time, spaced out well, got some good damage, then forced the fight. And that 1v1 was enough. So a fantastic decision from him. You get that veteran.
This is what you were talking about. Retta heard the flank, took out Shock.
It was nuts. I thought this was where it was going to be won.
And then he made the play, put his teammate in a good position. But it was a Rise Nation win, but it was a great fight.
It was a cool little clip, but that's all really it comes out to be. The round goes in favor of Rise Nation. So a close game 3 to start things off. Just a quick glance at over the lives, the respawns available. Zorkos, Cougars down just 2 of 4. Everyone on Rise Nation doing a good job of managing those lives. It's just Shock that's actually down 1. Everyone else 4 of 4.
Cougars catches one with Incendiary grenade. Rise Nation looking for another kill, and Detox finds it. He goes down, but no one else really in the area for Rise Nation to get this capture at the B hill. 1v1 up top.
This is a good start. This is a very important start for Regal Reserve because when you are down in life, you have to win.
Number 8. He's up there in a 2v1 situation. His teammate's finally going to look for him. Avexius was trying to take one to the grave, but he cannot.
You want the wins as quickly as possible. I was just mentioning when you're down in those live counts, 3 players down to 2 of 4.
So we talked about both teams building up towards their strengths, right? And you see the twerk bow being put in the hands of Regal Reserve. Now they get a free twerk bow off respawn, and now they can use that to get some extra sticks on the B hill. Cougars is in a prime position to utilize his weapon, sticking to the top of covers on the sides of it. Well, he only gets 3 shots, and he's making use of it.
You hear it charge. You got to give him a little bit of respect. He's trying to land some splash damage. He does just that. Detox is forced to try and back away. No one can try and push through, but Rise Nation say, well, hold on. Let's try and play our angles.
He saved his teammate. Good placement with the torque bow. As you can see, you don't always have to stick the player, but with the splash damage, you put it in the right location, you can still pick up a kill.
128 to 92. Yeah, always got to watch the flank. Detox comes up, shuts down Cougars. Swarm win in 70 seconds. That would, of course, be Rise Nation. Time starts to tick. Regal Reserve do have the point lead, but it will be overturned shortly. The question for me now is, with Strikers down to just 1 respawn as well, Cougars down to 1, Rita down to 1, how much more are you willing to throw at this round? When you get that low, it almost feels like you have to win the round. It almost feels like it's essential to win the round because you know later on you're going to be down now.
If we could see if we could see the back button, I wanted to see kind of when the respawn timers of those secondary weapons was going to be up. And we're going to see the incendiary grenades picked up there by, I believe, Regal Reserve. But that's going to be Rise Nation's incendiary grenades. But we'll see how to utilize it. They do have a power weapon in this round.
Time's ticking, guys.
They got to make a play soon.
Is this going to be the start of it? Well, B's going to be decapped. The cap, of course, would swing the round. The decap just prolongs what could be the inevitable as Detox tries to scramble away. Physics shuts him down. Shock is still there in support, but he's being hunted down as well. Make sure you watch your 6 after you pick up the kill. Krugers wants it. Shock to delay, beautiful play, and Strikers is there as well. Shock wants 3, not gonna happen, but his teammate Drix is there to save the day. But hold the instant.
Where you're running.
Beautiful from Strikers, there's 2.
He needs to get to the home hills.
I think it's
he can
it's
run
over.
straight to 8. Is
4
somebody
seconds.
on his teammate?
Nope, it's over. Doesn't have enough time. Despite the great play, Shock and Drix do enough just to prolong the round by time in their favor.
Now, 3 rounds off the board. We're about to enter our 4th weapon placement for both these squads.
Detox playing very well, by the way. 13 elims so far. Leads the lobby.
Oh, and you know, so
Torque is in the middle.
Yep, as you see, the Torque boat is in the middle. Now, Incendiary Grenade being built up there by Regal Reserve. Rise Nation choosing to give that bow talk back to Vexies. You saw how on fire he was with it in map number 2, also with that utility grenade as well.
Well, it feels like there's been a potential momentum swing here once again, back in Rise Nation's favor. Of course, in terms of elims, they are leading the lobby. Can they use that now to potentially get a map 3 win? I want to set it over to an Astro Gaming listening with Rise Nation.
I want you two, bro.
J'ai 4 sur 1.
One in drop.
Non, j'avais mis one shot. Dépose-me. Toi, dépose-me à top. They have top,
One shot, guys.
They have top, they have top, hein. Be careful.
Down in drop.
I'm dead, that's Rise Nation.
Oh.
Yeah. you good.
Nice, 2 dead. 2v3, guys.
Oh no.
I
thought I heard French.
Oh. No, you heard Ebonics.
I can flank him.
Really?
Back.
The voice is wrong. The voice is...
Gotta come up top, guys. Turn around.
He's dead, Jay.
Nice.
Yo, Strikers, one spawn again. Or
On me, guys. Look.
You're dollar. Just there.
Dolo, baby, just relax.
Back up.
I'm happy.
They can't get him.
Two Strikers.
Get his read. Fuck out of here, bro. I'm the greatest bow in here.
Alright, you didn't.
He can't spawn. Strikers cannot spawn. We don't need both power weapons up top, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna go
listening to words B.
I'm already here.
where's
Jay.
Rita?
I don't see nobody.
Hey, I'm already here, alright? What the
Okay.
There's one of the whole.
Yo, back right. He's on the right side of their side of top. Holding a little cargo. Oh, shit.
Yeah, don't go down. Alright, there's Rita. I'll make a play to drop him, okay?
Rita's the market.
Yep.
It's 2 up here, Ant. I hear him on the right.
I
wanna be.
Rita's
Yeah,
got 0
spot him.
lives.
Spot him. I'm here.
I wanna be.
Has their life?
I was
right there.
I saw him, Chef.
It is a play.
That was the best back.
Don't waste any more.
Yeah, I only have one more bow.
I picked him, Alec.
We can kill him.
That's a
I
2v1.
won. Thank God, bro.
They're gonna fly.
I'm leaving. Yo, make cut.
Good job, Jay.
Yo, I'm getting
Oh, yeah,
I'm
one shot. Down, Jay.
Take a shot,
Yo, I'm shooting.
One shot, boy.
Yo, listen. I'm gonna
One shot. One shot.
I'm above Jay. I'm above
One
Jay.
on me, guys.
Fred, he can spawn.
Alright, bro.
Alright, Fred.
Nice.
Nice.
Keep spawning.
Two
Oh,
out, bro. Two
Oh,
can
my
spawn.
bad.
Two can spawn.
That's how.
Guy, the lead is massive right now for Rise Nation. They have done so much work. Rita can't respawn. Strikers can't respawn. You heard Rise try and target Rita. Where's Rita? They recognize the situation they were in, and this round is going to be an easy one. And it begs the question, something I was talking about earlier on for Regal Reserve. They won the round earlier on, but at what cost? How many lives they had to use later on in the game, it catches up to you. So when you're in those situations a couple of rounds in when you're low in lives, you almost just kind of have to fully commit to winning those rounds earlier in the map, just so that when you get to this exact point, it's like, all right, well, we kind of messed up our life management early, but at least we have a couple of rounds cushion. Now what's happening is, well, Rise Nation have full control of lives and full control of the match.
Rise Nation, they are in the sweet spot, especially going into the second half as well. After round number 4, we don't have any weapon placement, so the weapons that are on the map currently will stay. And you see those two power weapons across the center line. These teams want to fight it out, and we're about to see that.
As the momentum potentially shifted just too much, can Regal Reserve try and fight back? It starts here in this round. You don't want to allow Rise Nation to get to match point. Cougars goes down. So Vexies that is able to put him down. Zorkos is trying to sneak straight through again. He's going to have a pretty big potential push to come through. Vexies is looking at him, but maybe Rise Nation just happy right now at least to set up a 2-to-1 hill advantage.
Yeah, they definitely are. So Rise Nation just going to hold off there towards their back foot. They have both power weapons. They got Torque Bow in the hand of Detox. They got Drop Shot in the hand of Rezik. They got a full set of lives. They got a 2-to-1 heal advantage. Rise Nation can play this to win off points. They can play it to win off eliminations if they get the opportunity to as well. But typically, you know, the other two win conditions, they're going to be, you know, as a, you know, at a present moment basis if they can actually get the trip cap domination or the team wipe on the other side. Rise Nation, beautiful spot. Regal Reserve, they're opting to go for this home hill push.
I mean, Rise have everything, right? They have a drop, they have a torque. It's so difficult now for Regal Reserve to try and push through, especially when the push is instantly shut down. Physics is able to find one for his effort, but it's not a favorable trade at all. Rise Nation will take each and every one of those. Shock tries to just push through. We'll find another. He's having a good map so far. His decision-making has been on point.
Now Shock, he's going to be able to make it to the death hill, but he's going to have two players that he has to deal with, and he gets out ASAP. Does he get away? Yes, he does. But he knows where both these players are. He's going to call for some reinforcements. He still needs to get away, but he puts a brick out there, gets in there to clean up the kill, gets help from his teammate, and takes the wide angle.
I absolutely love it. I mentioned his decision-making is just been so good this map. That's another prime example. Pushes through, does the right thing, realizes, well, I'm in a 1v2. Let me back away. Waits for some extra resources, gets a beautiful chunk, and then wins the fight himself. Shock really having a field day here in round number 5.
He's using his movement very well to peek around these corners, being very cautious, not to get caught off guard by the Regal Reserve members, be camping around his home hill. Shock doing a good job fighting for map control, and you see the team, his team is eating off the fruits of his labor. They have the Torque Bow, new drop shot as well in the hand of Rezik. They got a great setup. They're picking up the kills, and they're playing this one slow and methodical, and it's working out.
I mean, this is just one where Rise Nation controlled it from the very beginning. They got everything they needed. They got a drop. Of course, they use that very well. You see them with the torque. They've used that well. And when you have so much control and it doesn't get broken, or your setup doesn't get broken, you're just going to get more control.
Regal has a chance. They have a chance.
You're optimistic.
With that drop shot, you definitely do if they can get the kills, but you got to hit them, Benson. And the incendiary grenade as well. They had all the utility in the world to make it happen, but in the end, it's Rise Nation with the composure, and they're going to go to series point.
Well, if you had any doubts about them potentially clutching up, you're getting your answers here. A veteran display, if you will. Just sheer control coming out of Rise Nation in the clutch moments. Now the question is, well, what's going to happen to the map? What can Regal Reserve try and do here to influence the map back in their favor?
I say they kind of focus towards that secondary side. We know the incendiary grenade is over there. They can choose to go elsewhere, but let's see what else they can get out of that incendiary grenade. But Rise Nation was smart. They said, we're going for the block on that one. So you're not going to be able to do nothing there in that area. Now, I'm thinking that when it comes down to the other placement of Regal Reserve, they might have to just go for their secondary, get some flash grenades to probably utilize at the home hills to kind of stop these pushes. And they are going to choose to, I think maybe they went towards secondaries? Pistols, okay.
That's what it looks like. Of course, you can see the drop.
Well, no, those pistols is already down for Rise Nation. Didn't see the placement, but it's in there somewhere. Yeah.
Oh. Round underway. Shock starts it off. A nice pick on towards Rita. Strikers is
he caught him with that.
Instantly hits the flank. Nicely done. So for Regal Reserve, of course, you find yourself now needing to win every single round. Rise Nation have put themselves in such a good spot. Such a good spot indeed to try and close this one out. What has Regal Reserve got to show? Nicely done from Zorko. Stays alive as well.
That was a big fight. I think Rise does it right then and there. That 1v1 was crucial. Did Rezik win it? No, the D hill. Multiple people at the D hill.
Yeah. Regal Reserve straight up spawned fully with the home hill. There's only one player there for Rise Nation, not able to hold off the entire team.
I think Physics knows that he should have probably tried to pick up that drop shot when he had the first opportunity to, and even backpack it if you can in that present moment, because Rise Nation, they got the drop shot and torque bow to utilize once again, and Regal needs to do a better job at securing these power weapons off the beginning of the round. Now they have to dodge all these shots. They have to be super careful. If they can force out any shots right now, it'll be perfect for them.
But look at Shock. He's put himself in a perfect spot here. They'll know he's there, but
Yeah.
the problem is you have to try and deal with him, right? Because whilst you're dealing with him, you also have the drop from Rezik that's going to, just like that, come over top. Cougars get shut down, and now Shock says, well, is he there? Do I need to push him? Do I have to push him?
He has the flash grenade in hand. Rezik gets another one. I think that was a double as well. 3 members down on the side of Regal Reserve. Rise Nation in such a beautiful spot. At this point, they're just counting the seconds until they take this series, and they're picking up more kills along the way.
So smart. So smart from Shock. No hit marker on the
Let
stun,
him
so he
know.
knows instantly I can push through. Now all of a sudden he's a menace on the map. Does he want to continue pushing? Doesn't necessarily need to if he doesn't want to. It's 184 to 90. He knows that theoretically this is an impossible
He
task.
wants to do a victory lap right now. He's feeling so confident in his team.
I think he's just going to be patient. He's going to wait for the right moment. As soon as he recognizes maybe some resources aren't in the right spot, that's when he could try and push through.
Great push here out of Regal. Drix is going to have to defend this hill.
Is it
Members
just too
of
late?
Rise Nation are trying to drop back. The decap was good. 4v4, 4v3 fight up top. They have a flank number 4. Strikers has a 1v1. It's a big fight at the E hill that they're trying to get the decap. Regal trying to stay in his round. Uh-oh.
Now 1v2. 1v2 on the home hill.
They need players at the home. That's 3 dead. The last 2 on
They're flying.
F.
They're
Regal
flying.
can do it.
Cougars is going to be
Number 1.
on the back.
Strikers has a down. The flash comes through. Trip cap domination in play. One member falls.
The
Regal
down.
in such a beautiful position. All members of Rise Nation spawn up.
But wait, Drix, he manages to neutralize the hill. Has he more time for his teammates coming up? Spawn.
Ooh.
Now a 2 versus 4,
Ooh.
making a 1v4. Rise Nation, they clutch up. They get the kills. Regal Reserve, they
10
had a
seconds.
good effort. But
A
that
great effort.
is going to be that. The Rise Nation guys know it. Just clutching up. There was a moment there where I thought if Drix misrolls or